Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts back once again with another reaction for you guys. Today guys, of course, here to check out the newest episode of Superman and Lois. This is Season 3, Episode 10. Don't know the title. I'll find out later as I'm editing the video and all that kind of stuff. And it took me a minute this morning to remember what happened in last week's episode, because it just wasn't clicking in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, it was the dress episode. Well, that was the actual title, the dress. But it was the episode about Lois and dealing with the, the fact that she has to do this surgery, which I know they had mentioned a surgery, and it wasn't clicking in my head at the time. Like, okay, but wait, it's breast removal surgery? People saying, yeah, it was mentioned weeks ago, like, episodes ago, and it just wasn't clicking in my head. Like, well, she has breast cancer, of course she has to get them removed. Like, it just wasn't clicking in my head. Apologies. I just was like, it is what it is. It just wasn't clicking in my head. Like, that's what it was. And on top of that, Bruno, of course, was doing anything and everything to not give up what he has, which the DoD was asking for. I think I might have said Argus in the intro in last week's episode, but they were requiring Bizarro and other things, and he kept saying, well, I don't have these things. And then finally Superman talks to him. He's like, well, if I give you these items, can you promise that I can see my wife? And then, of course, here comes John Henry Irons with the DoD kind of asserting power, essentially. And yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And so I'm curious to see what happens in this episode. I really didn't hear too much about it in terms of social media. I was kind of avoiding that for the most part. So let's jump into the episode. Let's see what happens, guys. Let's go.
Chemotherapy is over.
Oh, okay.
You did it.
And you gave me the hope that I needed. Screw cancer!
Fuck cancer, but they can't say that.
He still hasn't returned what he stole from the DoD.
If he wants to see his wife, he will.
It's not right. Pia's dying.
Hey, I don't like it either, but your dad won't budge.
Yeah.
I mean, he barely agreed to let Mateo visit. I feel like we could use a good father-son name.
It's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Fun.
Yeah.
Just fun.
If I do this right, it could lead to big things.
We never see the younger daughter.
Senator, maybe
All of a sudden she's here.
Congress.
All that ice that just appeared after the fire was mysteriously extinguished.
You have no proof.
This is the proof.
This looks like Freon. A refrigerator probably burst or something.
It's not refrigerated. I think this is a really big story.
I mean, he's on the right track. Yeah.
I literally had you.
Metropolis and Gotham.
He's weaker than you without superpowers.
How about this? I come up with something, and then we do that. Sound good?
Sure. Sarah texted you? Yeah. Because A, we're friends, and B, you won't stop barfing out how much you're in love with her. It's not like half true.
You don't need to be nervous, son.
I just wish you were coming too.
Better than I don't.
I'm ready.
I don't think this is what it's setting up to be. You know what I'm saying?
Who wants to wrangle and tangle? Huh?
What?
Tonight, we have the bulldozer.
Bam the bulldozer. Oh no.
Come on.
They're going to a kegger.
What's wrong? I thought we had plans. Well, I mean, we had plans to have plans, but now something's come up.
Oh boy.
Candace is gonna come down. We'll do something else more fun real soon.
But like, I feel bad for him. He tries.
Sure you're gonna get the results you wanted.
The doctors here have some really good painkillers.
That's good. It's a good thing.
Which is why I wanted to give you the opportunity to set the record straight. This is your one chance to tell your side of the story. What's that story?
The story of what you've done.
A superpowered monster who's been running loose in Hobbs Bay. Okay.
Tell your story. Let's do this. Let's go.
I've been supportive of this relationship, but I'm not going to.
That's not what she's talking about.
No, it's
No.
actually about. It's an honor.
Mayor Lang, thank you.
I think I recognize
so much
her.
for having me. Hope you don't mind.
I'm gonna go find.
I'm gonna go do something. We got the fuck out of here. This is just uncomfortable.
Was it?
Why don't you go grab a beer while Gina
This is
finishes this?
uncomfortable. Oh my god.
Finally have time to hang out with him, and they couldn't get away from me fast enough.
The teenage boys.
Teenage boys, exactly.
Boring old dad just isn't a priority. You, Clark, are fast approaching the obsolescence phase of fatherhood. Just be glad they don't hate you.
We managed to keep it a secret. He must have been suspicious, though.
Hard to say. Weren't actually dating for very long before Boss was murdered by Lex Luthor.
Not true.
I see. I listened to Luthor's confession again, and I don't think it was him on that tape. I think it was you. You and Bruno killed Boss Moxie, took over Hobbs Bay, and you used Luthor as your fall guy.
We saw it.
That man is the only person in the world who scares me.
But he didn't kill Moxie or his
No,
men.
he did not. He wasn't even there.
I can tell you about it.
To put a man behind bars for a crime he didn't commit.
And the world is better for it.
No, see?
Luthor was a monster before.
Probably can't really feel that.
Do the whole sad boy thing right now.
Just seem that that guy Junior's a dick.
So, is this what being friends with you is like? Just getting pissed every time I'm talking to another guy? Then what is it? Stop making me feel weird whenever I'm around you.
Dude, he needs to hear this right now. He does.
Sometimes I really wish I never fell in love with you.
What makes two of us?
Let me guess. He got bored and traded you in for some young floozy? Don't be embarrassed. I've got the same story. Here you can get a mean piece of rhubarb pie in town.
Sure. That was awkward for Chrissy to be there to hear all that.
How's the fire station?
Oh, it's fine.
He might as well just leave. Because Jordan, this thing's fucking awkward as hell. Just go, dude. Just leave it. Oh, shit. Who called? Who called? They're not really arresting anybody. They're just scaring him away. Deer! Shit. She knows.
Did you see that? Some guy with powers just saved their lives.
We're gonna charge her with a DUI.
Oh, shit.
You have my word that. Hold on now. What makes you say that? Because just as we started to crash, there was like this blur, and then suddenly we're on the side of the road. Somebody saved us, and you know it.
She can't say anything.
What all we can do is tell the truth. You have to find out what that is.
She's not gonna tell me anything.
She's not telling nothing.
Dad, where are you? I need to talk to you.
Uh-oh.
Sarah and George Jr., they're almost in this car wreck, so I flew in to try to save them, but I think George might have seen me after.
Was anybody hurt?
No,
Why do you smell like beer? And was this before or after you and John canceled our plans?
Shit.
Does it matter?
Yes, it does matter. You cancel on
You
him.
also lied to my face. Okay, Jordan, get up to your room.
Yeah, I'd rather be there than watching some stupid wrestling match anyway.
Right?
You're an ass. You're an ass. Shit. Bad timing. Bad timing.
It's just her ex-husband.
Why did you get up first then?
She was drinking. Totaled her car. Deputy Jones.
Is that Mayor Lang's daughter?
I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure.
She really is a fantastic mayor.
By setting Luthor free. Not happening.
Not
This
happening.
isn't about him. This is about what kind of example you're setting for Mateo. Will it be all the things he's gonna read about you? All the people that you've hurt? Make this right with your son.
You're right.
We can talk after.
Everything happened so fast.
Yeah.
Drove drunk. I wasn't drunk. We are not going to debate.
The two of you should be dead.
Dad,
And you still haven't been straight with me about what really happened out there either.
what do you mean?
Junior said he saw somebody.
And he was right.
Kyle.
Well, if you'd seen the accident, something happened out there, okay? I know it did.
He's not crazy. He's not crazy.
I told the dad.
And
He told me everything.
he showed you shit too.
What do you mean? You mean everything?
It works. It works. That's why I'm here. Now, Dad said it wouldn't take long for it to kick in.
Is he driving? Do you know if he was drinking?
I don't know. He's probably with Candace somewhere.
Everything okay?
Well,
You need to find him.
Jonathan! What the hell, Dad?
Shit.
We were drinking and driving. We were selling this truck.
I wasn't drinking. After everything that happened last year, there's no way I would be drinking and driving.
that's
You
smart.
don't have to worry about it.
Look, I just think it's important we spend time together. You guys are growing up so fast.
Yes.
Okay, well, you're the one who's always busy. Look, we can't
That's
just
true.
sit around and wait for you to have free time.
Before I got better.
Yeah. They just left that? Shit.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I'm pretty sure you do. What's Mr. Cushing saying? He thinks you have superpowers.
Wrong kid.
I really do wish things had been different.
No, you don't.
I know he's got powers. Kyle, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Everything started when your family moved here. And we'll talk about this later. We can talk about this now.
I have to go. Just...
See you.
No, it wasn't.
Explain it all to you tomorrow.
Dude, he finally found out. Oh, she's making it seem like there's all this stuff happening in the central, thing of DOD or whatever. Reunited, and it feels so good. Did it actually work though? Like, is it permanent? And there you guys have it. That was Superman and Lois Season 3, Episode 10. Still don't know the title. I'll find out later as I'm editing the video. But wow. Some interesting stuff once again. Like, this show continues to have some interesting reveals, some what the fuck moments, pretty much every single episode. And this one, of course, is no exception. There was some pretty insane stuff here in terms of dialogue and a certain reveal to a character who finally knows the truth. Well, I don't know, because don't know to the extent that he knows that Clark is Superman. Talking about Kyle, of course, but I mean, now he knows, something's going on. And he was incorrect about the child. He was right about one of the kids having powers, but it was the wrong one. He was assuming Jonathan when it's been Jordan. But, he's like, hey, the fire most recently and all, it's like his, he didn't realize Jordan flew in. He thought Jonathan did all that, but no. But we'll get to that. So the main part about this episode, besides the Pia stuff and confessing to Lois, is Jonathan and Jordan's awkwardness about spending time with Clark, kind of pushing him away, evading him wanting, spending time with her dad, going to a party, Jordan being a sulky little sad boy, which is what he does all the time, pretty much, whenever it comes to Sarah. And then things unfold from there. So we'll cover that storyline first. Then we'll get to the Pia stuff. Then we'll get to the Kyle stuff. And the Kyle stuff does tie in to the whole mayor thing as well. And this senator or whatever that showed up. And I think that woman who showed up in the episode, I think she played Granny Goodness on Smallville. I haven't seen the show in its entirety, but I'm pretty sure that's who that is. I'm pretty sure it's the same actress. But anyways. So, we have this situation where Clark wants to spend the day with Jonathan Jordan. Well, they're not really too thrilled about it. They're like, oh, okay, sure. They're playing a video game. Metropolis versus Gotham on football. Some sort of video game. I'm not sure what video game that was, but it was obviously just whatever. But then he's all excited. He's like, I got these tickets. We're going to go see wrestling. And he was all excited. And they said, well, we're doing something else instead. They're going to a party, right? And so I feel bad because Clark's trying. He's like, and I get it, because Jonathan later on, when he's being confronted and saying, were you drinking and driving? And Jonathan's like, no, I drank water. I'm not, after everything that happened, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing anything stupid like that. I went to go spend time with my girlfriend who I haven't seen in a month, right? But during that, Jonathan says, like, we just can't, like, neither me and my brother, we can't wait around for you to be free. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't wait around for you to be available for us to do anything. So that's not how it works, because Clark is always leaving at inopportune times because he's Superman. So of course he has to go. So, but Clark was finally trying to do something. But who knows? If they would have went to that wrestling match, he probably would have ended up leaving. So, that's just how it is. He can't control when things are going to go down, and the world needs his help. The party was awkward as hell. Jordan interjected into Sarah, and I forget his name, but they kept referring to him as Junior because he was the son of the former mayor who was killed by Pia. And he was really a shady guy anyways. But the son, he's there telling a story. Jordan is interjecting and awkwardly came in and stuff, and then of course he gets pushed away by Sarah, which makes sense because Jordan's being uncomfortable right? And even Jonathan addresses it earlier, saying, well, you know, the reason why Sarah didn't text you is because we are friends, but she texts me because we're friends, but also because you constantly bring up the fact that you are still in love with her, or you were in love with her, like, it's awkward. And they bring that up because then Sarah goes to talk to him. It's like, is this how it's going to be as being your friend? Constantly sulking, being sad, and all this shit. And then he's like he called the junior, he called him a dick. He's like, I wish, then he said to Sarah, I can't believe Jordan said this, I wish I never fell in love with you. That is brutal. I wish I never fell in love with you. But it's, I get the point of him saying it, because he doesn't want to feel this way. He doesn't want to feel this kind of feelings for her and making it the way it is now in his life. But he shouldn't have said it at that moment. I don't think he should ever say it out loud, but he did. And Sarah said the same here. Like, ugh. It's brutal. But then later on, when the cops show up, like, who called the cops, by the way? Someone must have called the cops. And they're all running away and shit. And then that car crash was brutal. Sarah was in the getaway car. They turned the lights on after a while, her and Junior, and there's the deer, of course. I was thinking there's going to be a deer or something in the road when they turn the lights on in the car when they're driving away from the police and everything. That car flipped so many times, but Jordan saved them. And she knew it was Jordan. She knew it wasn't Superman. She knew it was Jordan. She knew. Of course, Junior's like, I saw somebody. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And of course, Kyle was being told all this, because at the same time, Kyle earlier gave Chrissy the stuff he was looking up in terms of, like, somebody has powers in Smallville, right? Somebody has powers. And so he is now more convinced now than ever because of this. Of course, later on, he now is completely correct because he finds out Clark was Superman. But, like, once he heard the story from Junior out on the road saying, yeah, I saw something. He's like, Sarah, what'd you see? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, 'cause she's like, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to further this theory or the sighting of somebody, because she knows Lisa Jordan. And Lana, later on, when Kyle tells him about this, they're in the kitchen, and Lana's like, what? And Sarah's like, I don't know, Dad thinks that someone saved us. And the way she looked, like, they knew it was Jordan. Both of them knew at that point, but they're like, Kyle, what you're talking about? Kyle, you're crazy. I feel bad for Kyle, because he's actually trying to figure this shit out, and he's actually investigating on his own and all that. But and then, of course, Kyle finds out, because at that moment, Pia, there was an interesting little thing too, because Pia was in that control room sending out her, like, sonic waves to her mind, which I don't think she's not done that before. She's only done it with her voice, so that was kind of strange, but she was making it seem like there's alarms and shit going off all over the world. And then Clark soon realized that this is not happening on the road. This is at the DOD. And then went there, and then, yeah, but so he couldn't wait. He told Kyle to get out of there, but literally Kyle wasn't leaving. The finger stopped, pushed him back. I'll explain everything tomorrow. Boom. So I'm guessing we're going to have a big old explanation next episode. Oh boy. Hopefully Kyle will, let it down easy. Oh, no, I doubt it though. But Kyle knows now. Finally. Pretty much everybody's starting to realize now. I think everybody now knows. I think Kyle was the last series regular to finally find out. The only person that is Sarah's sister, who we never fucking see except for the one scene in this episode. There's no reason for her to find out, but I think that's pretty much everybody. I think. Okay, so Pia. So Lois goes in there and is confronting her and recording her and wanting her to confess to what really happened, because they know that it was a manipulation of Lex's voice from Pia that was on that tape that was condemning him of a crime he didn't commit. So Lois wanted her to confess to it. Of course, she's not going to confess, but she wanted her to. And so she's like, yeah, and then Lex Luthor killed that guy. And we saw that scene. I'm pretty sure the scene what they're referring to is the scene in question in the flashback that we saw where Pia was destroying all those individuals. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what was being talked about. Because I think we heard the effects of that guy, the main guy getting killed, but we didn't see it, but we heard it. And I'm pretty sure that's what they were blaming Lex on. I'm pretty sure that's the exact same thing they were talking about, and I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But Lois like, no, I'm pretty sure that was a manipulation by you. Because you have the, like, literally you're vibrating sounds out of your fucking mind and shit, and these vibrations and stuff. Of course, she could probably mimic. But see, we haven't seen her do that before. only on tape, though. We've never seen her do that technique in terms of mimicking a voice. Maybe they're going to do that. Maybe we'll actually see her do it where she mimics a voice. I don't know. But Pia's there, not confessing. Mateo shows up. Mateo is now completely involved. Well, not to the level of, like, he's murdering people, but he is an accomplice because he showed up with the cure, which was in, like, the cufflinks. But apparently there's a cure that Bruno Mannheim figured out. Injected her. Apparently she's all good now. I don't know if that's true, but they're saying that's the cure. And I said this in last week's episode. They got to be careful about the cure angle, because if you're going to claim that you found a cure for cancer in the show, that's really kind of shitty to the real world, which doesn't have a cure. And the way they're implying is that the cure is from Bizarro, and that it's Kryptonian DNA that saved her. Or Kryptonian DNA that was involved with the making of the cure to save her. They got to be careful with that. They got to be careful. But, you know, Mateo's an accessory now. And no John Henry Irons or Natalie in this episode, which we had a lot of stuff going on, so it makes sense why they weren't involved, because they were involved last week's episode really heavily, so it makes sense they weren't in this one. Of course, opening of the episode, Lois was able to complete her cancer treatment, so that's good. So we'll see what happens from there. She seemed fine, seemed pretty good in this episode. I'm pretty sure the senator has some things to say about Lana after saying, you know, Sarah being arrested and DUI. I mean, it's a lot there. But yeah, a lot of things occurred in this episode. A lot of things, a lot of craziness. But I'm curious to know what's going to happen next. And the thing is, too, one last thing I'll mention here. I think I pretty much got everything. But this is episode 10 out of 13, not 15. Like we've had the past seasons 1 and seasons 2 had both 15 episodes each. We only got 13 in this episode, or this season. Still no Lex. I'm hoping next week's episode he'll pop up. Hoping, because we don't have many episodes left, and I don't think I'm 99.999 repeating % sure we're not getting season 4, so they gotta get to this Lex Luthor shit. Come on now. Come on, they keep referring to how he was wrongfully imprisoned. Now we need to, what we're gonna do. So anyways, whatever thoughts you have about the episode, let me know in the comments below, guys. I'm curious to know your thoughts about this episode, and we'll see what happens next week. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.